Hi everyone. As a first video into the series, we will see what product life cycle is. Before we jump onto product development, because I thought, understanding a little bit about product life cycle would be more helpful. So I thought I'll start with that. When it comes to product life cycle, it is majorly differentiated into four phases, regardless of whichever type of product that you work on. The first one is introduction. The second one is growth. The third one is maturity. The fourth one is decline. And when I say the four phases, it is possibly based on the sort of revenue curve across the product. That is exactly how we divide the four phases. And when it comes to introduction, we are talking about product getting into the market, more around not around the beta, but at least the early market one, the MVPs and the early market product adoption. The people who use the product over there are also very early adopters of the product. So product is still not matured. Product could be still naive. There could be a few bugs in the product, but people try it out with all those things. So that's also the reason why they are called early adopters. And at this part, the revenue curve is really not steep, or the company is not making too much money out of the product. But still, these sort of users actually give you the real-time understanding about the product. They'll give you insights about the product. They'll share valuable feedback on the product. So that is probably the first phase to start with, but where the revenue is not great, but there's a lot of understanding for internal and external users about the product. So that's the first phase, introduction. The second phase is growth. In the growth phase is exactly where the product is actually getting into the market, and you start seeing a lot of top and bottom line numbers working towards and against you. And typically, let's say you're looking at a slightly more innovative product or a very efficient product. The revenue growth phase is really high during this growth phase, where there's a lot more adoption. A lot of your target customers are buying your product, and your top line and bottom line looks really nice to you. So this is the phase a lot of companies sort of enjoy because there's good adoption within the market, and there's also the numbers also start reflecting on your balance sheet. So that's the second phase, which is around the growth phase. Third phase. Third phase is the matured phase, or is when the product sort of gets matured at a certain phase. It's not going to be always a V curve, or it's going to sort of just slide, parallel at some point, or just get plateaued at a certain point. That's exactly the maturity point where the product has hit the market. There's also other contenders in the market who are competing with you at a certain price point. So you have to compete with the market, work around for market share. Let's say you built an innovative product, and now there are competition in the market who are also trying to give the same sort of product or feature that you're giving. So there is sort of market penetration that you had, or the early mover advantage that you had, is all that you have at this point in time. Now the market has reacted to it, and it could be as simple as people started using the product. Now it doesn't look completely out of the box anymore. People are expecting it to do what it's supposed to do. So that is exactly the place where the product gets mature. At this point in time, still, though the sales curve is good, it is not growing at the same rate where it used to grow. So your annual recurring revenue (ARR) or your monthly recurring revenue (MRR) is going to have sort of conflict, or there's a slight dip in one of the numbers. So these are things, these are the type of things that could happen when the product hits the matured product state. Finally, it's the decline phase. It's interesting when you say it, but but it happens. Even if you build the most successful product, even if the product has all the nuances that a customer is looking for, but there is always scope for another person, other company to be able to replace you at a certain level. It could be at a price point, it could be at a feature point. You cannot be the cheapest guy and the best guy at the same time. It's not going to work. It's the Apple and Android sort of fight. You cannot be pricing it at a premium and be able, if you price it at a premium, then you're losing out people who cannot afford it at a premium. Then your market segmenting, market sort of, gets diluted a little bit. Let's say if you are if you want to give the service at the cheapest price, then you can afford all the sort of high-end infrastructure into the product. It could be a hardware or a software product, but regardless of what product it is, there's always a competitor who's going to beat you hands down, either at the pricing or at the quality, because you cannot match those two dots at the same time, which is completely, it's sort of impossible to do. That's the reason why I said decline is a phase that every company, every product will go through. So when it comes to again the 4 phases of the product, the first one is the introduction, where the product really gets into the market, where we're talking about the beta, we're talking about the early adopters, MVPs, and the second phase is where the growth phase is, where you hit the market really hard and start of acquiring market penetration. And third phase is where the product is matured, the matured phase, where product sort of just fights it out with the other players in the market. There are new interventions in the market who wants to have a market share. And the final phase is the decline phase, where even if you're the best product in the world, there is going to be a decline in terms of in terms of your recurring revenues concerned. That is exactly where a lot of companies follow a lot of strategies in terms of global expansions, in terms of bringing out different price tiering. So people come up with different strategies to overcome this sort of decline phase, but it is what it is. So those are the 4 phases when it comes to a product lifecycle is concerned. Let's look into the product development further down the series. Stay tuned. Bye bye.